Brits leaked. Prince William's Brazil trip backfires as public mocks his climate message, and the world starts asking why he's too lazy to fix his own mess. Brits leaked. And what a storm, what a spectacle, what a comedy of royal calamity as Prince William's glossy Brazil trip, meant to shine a halo around his so-called global leadership, has instead detonated into a worldwide roast session. Social media, journalists, climate watchers, even ordinary citizens sipping their morning tea, have turned the prince's polished press machine upside down. The trip that was marketed as William's grand global statesman moment has rapidly mutated into an international meme parade, and the public is not holding back. They are mocking his climate message, dismantling his speeches, and tearing down the mirage of hard work that Kensington Palace has tried so desperately to sell. The label echoing across timelines. Too Lazy William, a nickname born from years of minimal engagements, light calendars, and PR-driven appearances that evaporate the moment scrutiny arrives. It all began the moment William touched down in Brazil. Cameras awaited him. Reporters were fed scripted lines. The palace communications team stood ready to distribute photo ops of William gazing meaningfully into the rainforest, pretending to inhale the spirit of conservation. But before the ink dried on the first headline, the public had already spotted the gaping contradiction. William, notorious for taking long breaks, disappearing for weeks, and working the lowest number of royal engagements among senior royals, was suddenly in South America preaching about global responsibility and environmental urgency. The hypocrisy burned through the glossy veneer like wildfire. Social media exploded instantly. The comments were merciless. "He can't plant a tree without needing a month off," one shouted. "He lectures the world on climate and can't even show up to half the events on his own schedule," another wrote. "Too Lazy William strikes again, now on international soil." The memes followed like clockwork. William napping on a hammock in the Amazon. William pressing a snooze button labelled Earthshot. William wearing sunglasses, while climate activists hold charts behind him listing his poor participation record. The public has evolved. They see through PR illusions now, especially when royals enter the global stage expecting applause without accountability. The Brazil trip was supposed to be William's grand stage, a chance to steal international relevance, especially as Meghan and Harry continue to dominate headlines with real activism, high-impact charity work, global influence, and genuine connection to communities. William, who has long been haunted by comparisons to Harry, was pushed into Brazil in a rush of palace desperation. Insiders whisper that the palace needed William to look busy. They needed him to appear dynamic, relevant, engaged, especially after months of shocking low engagement numbers and long unexplained absences. But the public knows the truth. The Brazil trip wasn't about climate. It wasn't about leadership. It was about image repair, rushed, unpolished, and doomed from the start. The trouble deepened when William attempted to deliver a speech about climate change. Eyes rolled across continents as he lectured the world about urgency while arriving on private jets, flashing diplomatic pomp, rolling with motorcades, and living in palatial estates that consume more energy in a week than most families do in a year. His message was hollow, his delivery monotone, and his history damning. Analysts were quick to point out that William's environmental credibility collapses the moment you look past the Earthshot PR curtain. Earthshot, once praised as innovative, is now criticised as a glossy award ceremony that lacks real grassroots impact. Critics have noted that William seems more passionate about collecting photo opportunities than doing substantive work. He pops in, smiles, gives a scripted speech, then disappears for weeks. That is not environmental leadership. That is celebrity posturing packaged with royal ribbon. Meanwhile, Brazilians themselves were not buying it. A number of local commentators questioned why a foreign royal, who doesn't govern and doesn't legislate, was trying to posture as a global environmental authority. Does he want to help, or does he want attention? One environmental scientist asked bluntly. Others pointed out that Brazil has been dealing with climate devastation, deforestation, flooding and drought, long before Prince William decided to parachute in for a photo-friendly tour. If he truly cares, where was he all these years? Where has he been when frontline activists were risking their lives? Where has he been when indigenous tribes were begging for international help? Showing up now, with cameras waiting, feels like royal tourism masquerading as activism. And yet, the palace persists. They continue rolling out press releases, reminding the world of William's future king status and insisting that he has a global responsibility. But the world is tired of titles that replace actual work. The world is tired of seeing William take credit for the efforts of real activists. The world is tired of the too lazy reputation being glossed over by palace spin. And the Brazil trip only amplified the contradictions. What makes this backlash even more intense is the contrast with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. While William was stumbling through speeches and staged rainforest walks, Harry and Meghan were making actual impact elsewhere in the world. Their charity foundation continues to uplift communities. Their humanitarian work continues to resonate globally. Their engagement with people is authentic, meaningful, and rooted in empathy, not photo-op choreography. When Harry speaks, communities thank him. When Meghan advocates, groups feel heard and supported. Meanwhile, William's Brazil trip felt like a classroom presentation he didn't prepare for, held together by palace handlers, hoping no one notices the gaps. But everyone noticed. The public isn't easily fooled anymore. The days of blind royal worship are gone. People want action, authenticity, and accountability, qualities William has yet to consistently demonstrate. His work record has been criticised for years. His calendar is often lighter than royalty, who are decades older. His engagements are sparse, repetitive, and carefully curated to avoid anything that requires emotional depth or sustained commitment. And now, on an international platform, the flaws that the British public has pointed out for years have been broadcast globally. The Brazil trip also highlighted William's discomfort in unscripted environments. Footage circulated of him looking lost, stiff, and awkward when interacting with locals. The spontaneity that Meghan and Harry effortlessly embody, the ability to connect with strangers, joke with children, hug people warmly, is something William struggled to replicate. Several clips went viral of William attempting to engage but seeming robotic, overly cautious or uninterested. "He moves like he wants to leave," a Brazilian woman commented. "He doesn't seem present." Another clip showed William nodding through a conversation but checking his watch twice. That does not convey leadership. It conveys obligation. And obligation is not inspiring. Then came the most explosive moment. Activists confronted William about the British monarchy's historical role in environmental damage, colonisation, and exploitation. His response, vague, uncomfortable, evasive, only fueled the backlash. Critics said he looked unprepared, as though no one briefed him on the complexities he would face. But that is the palace pattern. Send William out, dress him sharply, hand him a speech someone else wrote, and hope no one asks real questions. The Brazil trip shattered that illusion. William was exposed not as a leader, but as a figurehead caught in a role he hasn't grown into. As the news circulated internationally, publications began picking up the too lazy narrative. Reporters dug into his historical work statistics, his long absences, the quiet reassignment of duties to other royals, and the ongoing discomfort within the monarchy about his lack of initiative. One newspaper even ran the headline, "William's Brazil trip backfires. Global audience questions royal work ethic." It was brutal, but it was accurate. Meanwhile, British taxpayers expressed frustration. "Why is he flying around the world preaching at us when he can't show commitment at home?" one said. "His speeches are empty. His leadership is invisible," another added. The sentiment was unifying. William cannot lecture the world until he starts doing the actual work. Real advocacy is consistent, grounded, and rooted in action, not performative tours crafted to boost his image. And the irony? The palace wanted the Brazil trip to overshadow the Sussexes. Instead, it amplified their strengths and highlighted William's weaknesses. Harry and Meghan succeed because they believe in what they do. William struggles because he is told what to believe, told where to go, told what to say, and told how to look. And even then, the effort seems exhausting for him. The public is not wrong to question why someone who works so little is suddenly framing himself as a global authority. In the aftermath, Kensington Palace has reportedly gone into crisis mode. Staffers are scrambling to reshape the narrative, pushing talking points, stressing William's commitment to climate issues, and insisting that he is misunderstood. But when videos, photos, memes, and public commentary all say the same thing, that William appears out of touch, unprepared, and unwilling to do the heavy lifting, no PR team can fully erase the truth. So here we are. A trip meant to elevate Prince William has instead exposed the reality that the palace has desperately tried to hide. The world has seen through the facade. The climate message backfired. The speeches missed the mark. The public mocked the contradictions, and the question on everyone's lips remains: how can a man known as Too Lazy William suddenly act like a global leader? The Brazil trip will go down as one of the most embarrassing PR stumbles in recent royal history, not because William travelled, but because he refused to evolve. He refused to grow. He refused to genuinely engage. He refused to do the sustained work that leadership demands. And the public, both in Britain and beyond, is no longer satisfied with royal cardboard cutouts. They want substance. But perhaps this global backlash can serve as a turning point. Perhaps this humiliating moment, broadcast from Brazil to Britain, can finally push William to confront the reality he has been avoiding. Leadership is earned, not inherited. Respect is built, not inherited. Credibility is proven, not inherited. And if William wants to be taken seriously, he must stop relying on PR spectacles and start delivering meaningful, consistent work. Until then, the title that has now travelled beyond the UK into continents William never expected will continue to follow him. Too Lazy William. A name born from public frustration, reinforced by years of observation, and now cemented by a Brazil trip that was supposed to be his triumph, but instead became his global undoing. If anything, the world has spoken clearly. It no longer bows to image, it bows to action. And William, for now, has given them very little to bow to.
The submission itself sounds nice. And to my amazing and peculiar Sussex family, thank you all for watching our videos and tuning in to Daily Diaries Friday's update. Keep it light, keep it there, and see you next time in our next episode. Bye bye. May you have a good day and a good time. Keep shining. Bye bye.